All right, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 14 of the You'll Have That podcast. We had a few changes and a couple announcements that I want to start out before I introduce all the people here. So Jaboon's no longer with us unfortunately because of some scheduling conflicts, but it's predominantly going to be me and Twiz and guests, or sometimes Zazzy will join us. And then we'll also have like a little desktop sort of screen in the bottom here where we'll showcase some items that we want to talk about that we can show our viewers that are watching us on YouTube. And as always, you can find us on Spotify as well if you're listening there. And yeah, we have a nice bit of topics here. I'm gonna let Twisted introduce himself, and then Zazzy, you can go after Twiz,
What up, though?
and then Zaz.
What's going on, guys?
So that's Zazzy. He's a good buddy of Twiz here and mine. He's pretty cool, and he's gonna be joining us on this episode. So Twiz, why don't you go ahead and start us off with something?
Okay, well, fucking starting off, Mike Ybarra suggesting tipping allowed for games and game developers. That's kind of we're
So my,
already starting to get on that good old slippery slope. His basically his tweet said, "I've thought about this idea for a while as a player since I've been diving into single player games lately. When I beat a game, there are some that leave me in awe of how amazing the experience was. At the end of the game, I've often thought I wish I could give these developers um, basically more money. I'm sorry, but in all my years of playing a video game, I have never wanted to spend more money for a video game. So this just shows how much further out of touch
Mike is
these these people are getting. I
Mike
believe,
Ibarra is the game director at Blizzard
yeah,
for World of
yeah,
Warcraft, just so you guys know.
exactly,
Oh, creative
exactly.
director, sorry.
So at the end of the day, even the creative director is all about that money bag. It's very reminiscent to some of the old cartoons or Scrooge McDuck, just jumping into his money pit and doing the backstroke. Um, Activision Blizzard is extremely out of touch, and like you're already charging people, egregious amounts for video games, along with subscription charges, along with you have to pay for DLC content
Expansions,
and
DLCs, and all
expansions,
that. Yeah,
along with $100 World of Warcraft mounts. So I think you've got the tipping right there.
that's what I don't
We don't need any
understand.
more.
Is we have alternate methods of tipping in games. You can purchase, the in-game shop. You can purchase things, right? With Elden Ring, you can always get the deluxe edition, so like the whole tipping culture in games, I think, is a huge no-no, and it is a slippery slope, as you said. Doesn't make sense to me either because you have avenues to give more money after playing a game. You can always get, soundtracks, merch stores, upgrading to the digital deluxe edition, pre-order bonuses for the next title or whatever. There are other ways to give the developer more money versus tipping in game. So I think this whole tipping epidemic really kind of making its way to gaming is a little absurd because you already have a way to do the same exact thing. Like Mike
But
Ibarra, we get it that you're rich, and you can just blow another $20 after spending $100 on a game, but not everyone can.
but here's a thought.
Mhm.
If you're in such awe and amazement of what these developers did,
Yeah,
why the fuck don't you give them more money on their paycheck? How about that?
that's a really good point. Exactly,
Then
absolutely.
they won't
Tipping.
need tips from the consumer.
Yeah,
Like, nah, bro.
I think
Go ahead,
Zazzy's
Zazzy. I
got
know
yeah,
you
he's
were
got
getting
some
ready to
stuff.
say something.
Yeah, so like Blizzard, a lot of World of Warcraft, you got a bunch of subscriptions, skins that come out, in-game stuff. I know like the new platforms, not new platforms, like the new stuff now modernly. Before it was back then, it was just expansions, and you had everything there. Now it's like you need a subscription to continue to level up your character, and I think that in itself is, I mean, a month, like $30, $40 a month, and you got millions of people playing World of Warcraft. You know what I mean? They want the new stuff, they're gonna have it, they're gonna do it. So I mean, the whole tipping point, I mean, it's an idea, but maybe in a different aspect instead of like in-game stuff. We already spend that kind of money, like Call of Duty type stuff. I just bought a skin for another what $30 only because I wanted it, but it's because it's eye catching. A lot of people want it because it's like it's a feel good thing, but at the same time, we're spending. I want to say like myself, I'm probably one of those. I spend about $1,000 less than a month on different games because of battle passes, skins, weapons, weapon skins, all of
Yeah.
that, and that's something we enjoy to do. But sometimes it's like, what are we doing?
To be honest, every time I buy a skin, granted, yeah, it's awesome. I like it and everything, but as soon as I click that button, almost immediate buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
Like, what
Yeah.
the hell? Especially with Call of Duty, because you never know if those skins are going to transfer over to the next Call of Duty or not. I believe from Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3 was the first time that they allowed weapon skins and operator skins to transfer.
Mm-hmm.
So, are they going to continue that whenever the new Black Ops comes out this November? I highly doubt it. So,
Zazie
what are we
brings an
actually
excellent point,
doing?
exactly, and you do too. But I also would like to throw in a little wrench into that. In the sense, even if they continue it, like when is too much for a skin enough? They've already came
It's
out with.
already too much.
Was it $80 for that gauntlet thing?
No, it was $30 a skin. $20 a skin was egregious.
No,
But
I'm
now
saying like what is their recent thing? I think we talked about in that last.
80
It was
$80
$80.
for a gauntlet.
Okay, so Mikey Barrow, you're talking about tipping in games. You have an $80. So the base game costs $70. So you have an You have an item that's more expensive than your game. Do you normally go to a restaurant and tip over double the amount of your receipt? Is that normal?
Over
I'll cut in on
100%.
that. I'll cut in on that. It depends on the service because sometimes people want it. Sometimes people are just there to think that hey, this is the easiest thing. Because using a restaurant reference is probably the worst reference because think about it. It's not that like so the $80 deal like basically it's like $23. This is with taxes. $23 per skin, per tracer pack. And in order for you to get the extra gauntlet or the extra deal that comes with that pack, you have to buy each skin pack, which is the
Mhm.
Shimo, Godzilla, Kong, and Scar. You have to buy all four of those in order for you to get the gauntlet. Same thing with Dune last season. You had to buy four different skin packs just to get the sword that um, that that was given or a dagger. I can't remember what it was. So in a sense of putting it in as a waiter or waitress, I think that's kind of like a bad idea. Throw it out there. It's more like um,
It's more like you went to McDonald's.
and you want to buy
You
off a
had to buy
dollar
the
menu.
top 4 combos to be able to get to the dollar menu.
Yeah, I mean it's like a four for one price. You know,
Mm,
yeah, it's like a combo mix match. Good. That's a good reference. It's just I think a lot of the reasons a lot of people do streaming is because that's where the tipping comes in. The streaming is to show what they're doing with your game, to get the people's attention. That's where your tipping comes in for players.
yeah,
Um, a lot of the times is because people are streaming your game, they're promoting your game, and that's where that tipping comes in. They take the time out of their lives and basically play the game as promoting your game is the way I see it. Like Fortnite, yeah, a lot of people stream Fortnite, Apex, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, League of Legends. Everyone streams and everyone gives a platform of holding their subscribers by giving them good content. That's the tipping point of that side. I think is there's your tipping. People are receiving those types of tips to play those games, promote those games, and promote all the extras.
Well, they're talking about is what he's saying is tipping the developers that develop the game, not the streamers.
Why would we have to tip the developers
That
extra?
that's that's why we're saying that because is what he's basically saying is you buy a game, right? You play the
Yeah.
game. If you like the game, there should be a thing at the end of the game that you could tip to the company to give more money that's supposed to go to the
So
developers.
so mystery barra. That okay. Now that I got a better understanding of that, no. Um, as in, if you want your developers to make more, to make a better content, better games, better,
Pay them
web
more.
exactly. you're a businessman. You should already know. You want your people to stay. You don't want them to go somewhere to make something else better. It's you got to pay them. Like it's like me or anyone else in that works in any industry is like you want to go to work for the fact that what you're doing is great and you're being a great asset. You might as well just pay them up to that point where, hey, my guys are doing great on these developing on skins, expansions, all that. Like if you're getting a hit and you making that revenue, I don't see why not give them a pay raise.
Exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely, that's
Especially
very well said. Yeah.
especially whenever you come from a company like Activision Blizzard. Okay, so you've got the Call of Duty franchise, which has been going strong for 20 years. You've got World of Warcraft, which has been going strong for again 20 years, and not only that, you have to buy the base game, you have to pay for all the expansions. Since day one, World of Warcraft has been a subscription-based game, anyways, which there's that. So don't tell me that you're not making enough money to be able to tip or not tip, but raise your developers' pay. All right. And I get that he's also talking about like single player games, but again, most single player games are $70 to $80, sometimes $100. We've already seen it with Capcom with the Yakuza game, the new one
Oh
that
yeah,
came
yeah,
out,
yeah, yeah.
that you're literally now having to pay
For a
extra
new game.
money
Yeah,
for New Game Plus, which is supposed to be a part of
the
any
base game. Yeah.
base single player game. Imagine if Elden Ring would have done that. Like people would have lost their fucking minds. Meanwhile, these these companies and publishers, and I don't know if it was the developers' choices or not, but possibly are putting out games now that base content uh, that should be in the base content is now trapped behind a
Well,
paywall.
yeah. Recently with the Star Wars Outlaws thing, there's a whole mission. I don't know if I mentioned this. There's a Jabba the Hutt mission locked
Yeah,
behind the
locked
deluxe
behind a
version.
paywall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and not to mention, these CEOs like Bobby Kotick, for example, right? Former Activision CEO. He made $154 million in 2021. He can afford to take, a little bit of a pay cut to tip his developers a proper living wage
Right.
and not squeeze them for
I
money and
have
stuff.
something on that. I have something on that. I work in the wind industry. I make yeah, it's a blue collar job, right? I'm doing a
Mhm.
great job. I'm a technician. I do troubleshooting, all this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
In order for us to be happy, you got to keep moving forward, right? So, when it comes to the tipping deal, I think using the tipping term is something that should be changed. Change the mindset of tipping. Maybe look at what what potential everyone's bringing. The ideas have to come up way before they're being made and created, or before they're created. They have to be brought up. You know, Maybe suggest something, getting together with your team and finding out, like, what exactly is it you need from me, and we'll keep moving forward to continue this long, prosperous journey. Because 20 plus years, like Twisted mentioned, I mean, that's a pretty good number, and still going strong and still making revenue. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. They've had their greedy little sticky, grubby little fingers in the wallets of millions and millions of people, not just in America, across the fucking planet. And
Mhm.
you're gonna tell me that you think that there should be at the end of games, hey, do you want a tip? Like, bro, this isn't this isn't like a GitHub free service that you can donate to. All right.
Or
This
like
is
a Patreon.
right. This
Mhm.
is these are video games that we pay our hard-earned money for. And
$70.
I'm gonna take it right out of Asmongold's mouth. All right. Do you know who normally plays video games?
Broke people.
Poor people. Why do they play video games?
Escapism.
Because we're poor.
Yeah.
we're going crazy. We're stressing.
Right. We don't get to hop on a private jet and fly to Bali for a weekend trip. All
Right.
right. Our weekend trip is hopping into a game like, I don't know, Ghost of Tsushima or, you know,
Elden Ring or
Elden
whatever
Ring
it may be,
or
right?
right, whatever it may be, we already can't keep up with how much these video games are. A lot of people are barely keeping up with how much a console is or a PC is,
Yeah.
you
Not
know?
just that. Let's talk about space. Space that's
Right.
100, man. Like
E-
that's crazy.
Exactly. A lot of people are struggling to even keep groceries in their refrigerator, and you're going to come up with the insane idea to put a tipping menu at the end of a game?
And we both know that that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's gonna turn into you have to tip to access this, and you have to
Right.
tip to access that.
Not just that. I'm one of the ones, depending on how I like anything and everything. Like let's go back to the restaurant, friends. You give good service, you want it, you're gonna get it. Now, if you give somewhat of a good, okay service to poor service, either it depends on how your attitude is, how you treat everybody. You're there to make a type of money, and you got to work your butt off for it. And it's like, well, I served you, but how was the service? So you're telling me the developer is doing what they're doing, game's complete, and then you're gonna tell me, hey, you have to tip in order to get this. That's where you're gonna turn me away to be continue to buy any product from you. I'm sorry to put it that way. It sounds rough to say, but
Exactly.
in order for me to move forward, you want me to tip. Well, who am I tipping? I've already paid you for your game,
Mm-hmm.
and you want me to tip somebody else that should be making that on a paycheck when the game's already complete and you want me to continue the next level, the next expansion, let's say.
Exactly. And
Like,
and he can sit there and try to spin this as you're tipping the developer all he wants to, but I'll guarantee that that tip menu
That goes
isn't
straight.
attached to no developer's bank account.
No, that goes
That
straight to
goes straight
executive.
to the executive's bank
Yeah,
account.
of course,
So
of
those
course.
developers ain't seeing shit anyways.
yeah,
So stop coming up to me like Tiny Tim asking for another bowl of fucking soup because it ain't happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of actually want to play off a little bit of what Zazzy said with the storage thing, because me and you went to Micro Center recently, and we were actually looking for some storage.
Oh,
On top of everything that's happening, apparently storage prices have skyrocketed, guys.
skyrocketed.
Massive.
Skyrocketed for a spinning disk hard drive. 7200 RPM spin, the old school hard drives. $150 for 4 terabytes. Meanwhile, 6 months ago, I could have bought that same hard drive for $75. It's went up double price. All right. I was also looking at the Samsung NVMe's. All right. 3 months ago, I could have gotten a 2 terabyte for about $115. I remember this the last time we were in Micro Center. Now they're $169.99. So I asked the guy, and this dude, straight faced without batting an eye, everything's going up.
Yeah.
why? Why?
Exactly.
Why?
Because it's fake inflation.
It's not just that. It's the same thing with the vehicle. You're paying all the electronics, not the vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It's all bullshit. And the more electronics that are in a vehicle, the more points of failure.
yeah, and again, like I said, I don't mean to make it sound rough to throw it like out there that I won't continue buying your product. It's just I want to enjoy my time off, enjoy time with my friends that we play games together. I don't want to have to be bullshitting around, cussing at my fucking monitor or Xbox because I can't play any further because you decide that I need to tip somebody.
Exactly.
I,
I don't run the
Exactly.
company. I don't run the company. I'm not supposed to give them extra money because I'm not the boss of that company. Now, if you want to give me a share of that, shit, I'll gladly tip you my coworkers if you want to share some of that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You give me your money, I'll share some of the money you gave me, and I'll share my money to the developers. And
And
there's your tip.
and you know what? Most games these days, especially live service games, they're already set up to feel like a damn part-time job anyways. Should I not be getting paid to play all these hours into this game? If
I'll,
if you want to
yeah.
look at it that way, shit, tip me for playing your shit.
I'll give an
Especially whenever
example.
especially whenever you release it with 35,000 fucking bugs and leave it released for a solid year and still not fix the bugs of day one. Call of Duty.
I'll give a very specific example with the whole grindiness thing and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. When they released season 1 with the Joker, it was locked. If you didn't pay for it, it was locked behind a battle pass where at the end you'd get it, right? So someone did the calculations and it would take like 1,500 missions to complete the battle pass and get the Joker.
Yeah.
So like,
exactly.
it's unfathomable. It's literally like you'd be crazy just to grind it out for that long, you know?
So most people nowadays work anywhere between 60 to 80 hours a week. That is here lately is a normal work week for Americans. What blue collar person that is working that many hours has enough fucking time to do 1,500 missions in your game?
I'll answer that for you. None. I work
Exactly.
I work 12 to 14 plus hour shifts. I'm lucky with this site. It's less. Normally on a normal work week, it's over that amount. We are working stressful jobs, and it's not just us. Let's put the normal, working person, McDonald's, Burger King, Walmart, something like that. Not even them have enough time because they're forcefully, and the only reason why I say this is because I'm using my wife. My wife, instead of asking, "Okay, you guys, we have this time off. We can get you guys in. Do you want to come in?" The answer is not being able to given. It's like, "Hey, you're coming in." That's what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if
And
you
and
don't,
we
if
we,
you
we
don't,
can
we're
say no.
writing you up.
Exactly. We
And it
can say no. Like, this is my day off. Like,
and
well,
if
it's
you
a no
get
call, no show.
right, and if you get 3 of those, we're firing you. And matter of fact, most states is called a right to work state, which
Yeah,
sounds sounds like it's good for you, the worker. No, it's not. It's good for the employer because right to work means they can fire you for
for
whatever. They
anything.
don't have to give you a reason.
Hmm.
Exactly.
So even if you had the day off and they call you up, hey, you're coming in 3 or 4 hours, and you try to say no, okay, well then you'll have a write up, or
Exactly.
okay, then you've lost your job. Click.
Yep. See, and we're going off topic there, but like, back to the tipping thing. It's just you got to look at it this way, Mike. Put yourself in the position that before you became successful, that you probably were a developer yourself. Maybe one time, I don't know. I do a lot of time away from home, and I'm not into doing my research a lot. Sometimes I do, but put yourself in a position where you first started. Like, man, I want to do this for the people that enjoy doing this. You know what I mean? Like, and then now I need a group of people that have that same goal. And I get it. Things in right now, it's increased because of stuff going around. Parts are needed. Developer, programs are needed, and they're constantly changing. They're constantly changing, and you need to update, upgrade, update, upgrade, update. And I get that. The thing is, it's just it's already a lot to want to bring up a tipping idea to the players that already spend. And again, games used to be before Xbox One X. It used to be $60. It used to be $40 back before with Xbox 360. 50.
Hmm.
And you buying deluxe games at $60 now. They're almost $200 just to buy deluxe and gold editions to get everything else somebody wants. Not just that, now you got to pre-order, and you have to beat the traffic for pre-order. Like, that's just in itself a headache because I don't have time to jump in and say, "All right, Mike, what else do you got coming in that I need to know, that I need to find out to pre-order, get my first, first take on that, first come first serve type thing, get early access into anything." I don't have time, it's just as a blue collar worker, as I do the gaming to get away from the world. It's basically what it is. I talk to the guys that I talk to every single day of my life, and it's work. It's a great time, but it's work. But
Yeah.
my leisurement off of work, my days off, my vacation, it's on the games with my friends that either I grew up with in high, well, not grow up with, but I was in high school with, and then Twisted. I've known Twisted for my daughter's what, 10,
11 years.
just about 11 years. This is the first time I actually see Twisted's face and speaking to him like this. I haven't met him in person. He's in Michigan. I live in Texas. Um, it's just it's it gets us away from all the stress, all the frustration, all it that I miss being a kid. Just put it that way. I miss being a kid where everything was just a little bit more affordable, but the game was made
Shit,
for.
I'm tired of being an adult. I'm about to put myself up for
Yep.
adoption.
I just miss sitting there and playing and just say, you know what? It's just to get away. It's to enjoy myself. And I mean, we're going to continue to be gamers, right? We're going to continue to buy the games. We're going to continue to do this. I'm not saying we're going to stop. It's just tipping is the aspect of no.
Yeah.
I mean, try to find another method. I mean, like me and Twisted said, and I'm pretty sure viewers can agree with. Why do I need to tip somebody to get something out of it when I already buy your game, buy your expansions, buy your skin, buy your
Well,
weapons?
and
You
and
know?
that's the thing. And that's the thing. The proof is all public knowledge, right?
Yeah.
These companies are not hurting for money in any way, shape, or form, unless you're a shithead that puts out a game like
The
Sea
day
of Thieves or
before, or
whatever.
no, no, not Sea of Thieves. It was the day before, and then it was Ubisoft Skull and Bones.
Yeah, Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
If you're a shithead that puts out a game like Skull and Bones thinking that it's a quadruple A title and you fumble the ball that hard, then
It cost them a lot of
that
money.
that's on you. But whenever you're talking about, Activision Blizzard and companies like that that have really, really, really deep pockets and also deep-seated issues within their company, and we've talked about all of that, all of the little scandals and the SA and all of that was happening at Blizzard itself. You know, that's on y'all. That is not on the customer. Y'all need to figure that one out. But you got enough money that you can be paying your developers where your developers ain't worried about a customer's, $5, $10, $20 tip at the end of the game.
Yep.
I promise you that. But moving on to another topic, and I think that this is a great segment. These days, it is impossible to find
Oh, no, no, no,
honest
no.
work.
There's one more gaming topic I want to touch on. Hold on.
Oh,
So
okay.
Ubisoft, in its ever
It's
expanding.
infinite wisdom.
Yeah, it's just it loves being the new EA. It really does. They actually started pulling people's licenses for The Crew. It's a racing game. So
They pulled it right out of everybody's library.
yeah, if you owned it, they literally removed the game from your library.
Yep.
And they've changed their terms of service now to, in all caps, include that you are not purchasing like a game, you're purchasing a license to play the game.
Yep.
So what do you guys think about that? This,
I can't answer that. I mean, I wish I had an answer to kind of give on that. But to purchase a license, does that mean I own the game? I mean,
No.
part share?
No, that's basically a long-term rental.
So you're telling me I gotta rent a game? This isn't GameFly. This isn't GameFly. I can go to GameFly
Burn
and
it
rent a
down.
game. Yeah, Lee. I mean, I guess I do have an answer. If I'm not gonna have a share in that, again, coming back to shares, like I don't want it. I mean, I don't play it, but I don't want it. If I have to purchase an agreement, a contract, lease, whatever, I mean, I better have some part of ownership to it. Don't touch my shit.
So basically, is what happened is all these people that owned The Crew paid full price for it, right? They had it in their game library, and they decided, after how many ever years, they decided to let the license go. They changed their terms and service agreement. So one day, people woke up, they went to log into their Ubisoft. Boom, they get hit with a thing where they have to either click agree, all right, and then they could go on into their account. If they didn't click agree, they clicked to disagree, it would log them out of their account, and there you go. You're going on your way. No access to your library at all. If you
So it
clicked
deletes
agree,
everything. It
so if
deletes
you
everything.
it doesn't delete
it just
everything.
locks
It
your
just makes
account.
it to where you can't log in until you click agree. So if you clicked agree, once you got into your account, The Crew was, if you had purchased it, was removed from your library, and in that agreement, in all caps, it said, you you agree to not owning the game. You are getting a license to play the game.
So
You're
give me my
essentially
refund.
purchasing access to the game.
So give
Yep.
me my refund, and I'll pay a subscription for the game, so I can decide to stop when I want to.
Right. But of course, they're not going to do that.
No.
So that's where we're at there with that. I think it's bullshit. I think it's the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard in my entire life. Um, Ubisoft is the
Oh, they're
I
competing
guess
with the EA right now for worst gaming company.
Oh
right.
man.
Not only that, I think they were the development team, right? It's Ubisoft as the development team
For what?
for
Oh,
for
for
the
the crew,
crew.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Let me check.
So it's a Ubisoft exclusive. It's a Ubisoft title. Okay, so you have the license in perpetuity, meaning you have the license forever, forever, forever. You're not paying anybody for that license. You own it.
Yeah, Ubisoft published it and was one of the developers that were on it. Yes.
Ubisoft owns that license.
Mhm.
So there is no excuse as to why, oh, the license just ran out and we're not renewing that license. No, they own it. This is a choice that they took the game out of everybody's library and they vaulted that bitch.
And we talked about something like this in a previous episode with the whole, how Steam and all the digital, stuff, where they essentially are selling you licenses to the games. You don't physically
Which
own
makes
them.
me very nervous about Steam.
However, I did read online somewhere that there is, I think, some sort of clause or something where if Steam, for some reason, was to shut down, there is a way to get actual copies of your game. Don't quote me on that. I read it somewhere. I'll try to dig that up for next episode to make sure, but I think Steam has something like that. But what I wanted to mention is we talked about if they were to do something like this. I understand that they legally could, but this completely destroys your goodwill with the customers. And I think I'm hoping at least with Ubisoft, people are seeing that, this is kind of destroying their goodwill. Not to mention their absolute garbage failures of games they've had recently. But your customer base now is unsure if what they purchased from you is even going to be in their account forever, or like actually theirs.
Oh, I'll be sure that any game from this day forward
Mm-hmm.
that comes out to look and see who's on that game, and if Ubisoft is anywhere or any of its little fucking children companies or anything is anywhere near that game, I will not be. My money
So
will not go to it.
yeah, so fair warning to our viewers who are gamers. If you don't read the terms and services or anything like that, I suggest you start reading them now. Things like this happen, and it just
But
causes a headache.
but that's the thing. That's the thing is nowadays, right? So back in the day, whenever you agreed to a terms and service policy or whatever, um, it really didn't change. It was
Yeah.
kind of a static
Hmm.
agreement, okay, because everything wasn't connected to the internet. Well, now that everything is connected to the internet, all terms of service are subject to change, right? So
Yeah.
that's why every time there's an update with a video game, you'll see a terms and service agreement that
Every
you have
single
to
time.
re-agree to. And some of these games update every week. So you're re-agreeing to a new term and service agreement,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Um, this happened another episode we talked about it that the Roku TVs, they locked you out of your TV until you agreed to a terms and service agreement to where they can inject your HDMI. So whatever you have plugged into HDMI, period, they can inject ads into that. So
Like as an overlay.
if you have a DVD player that is connected via HDMI to a Roku TV, and you press the pause button on that DVD, the TV sends a signal that says, "Hey, this is paused." You can interject an ad
On your DVD player?
on any HDMI device, anything that is connected via HDMI.
That's scary.
Yep.
If they can do that, just imagine the stupidity in the future. If they can
Yep.
do that, if they, I mean, they can, right?
Yeah.
But it's probably happening now at some states or places. Again, if
Well,
them doing that is just scary.
just like in that episode, I mentioned that we are moving incredibly fast to the movie. Do you guys remember the movie Ready Player One,
Mhm.
where
Yeah.
literally that whole movie was about a CEO playing a game to be able to win so that he could get control of that universe so that he could inject ads just before the point of giving, regular people seizures.
Um. So. I apologize. My ADHD makes me look everywhere else. So. This is a thought that's been. I'm sure people have seen this. There's a literal VR game that's actually lets you connect, and basically you die in the game, you die in real life type shit. You sign an agreement. It's basically suicide. You know what I mean? It's just we are
Is
moving
this a
fast forward.
movie?
No, 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 no. This is something that's been brought up, mentioned. I don't know if anyone's seen it besides myself. It's just things that
It's
have been
sort of
brought up.
online, I think, is what he's talking
It
about.
it is, it is. But today we kind of mentioned this. Let's say an EMP, right? I would prefer an EMP just to get rid of all this technology shit, just to kind of slow it back down. You know what I mean? Like we're
Hmm.
moving so fast to VR. Like VR is great. Then you got that Apple Vision bullshit.
Hmm.
Yeah, the
Cool.
Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, so I mean, cool, badass. We're in a millennia that we're getting older. Shit's coming in. Shit's happening. Badass. But I don't want to be a fucking a test subject to say, hey, here's a game. You get to live in a virtual reality, but your body is subconscious only into the game, and that's it. But if you die, then you die in real life. It's just it's I don't it's just been mentioned. I don't know if that's something they want to
I don't
do,
I don't
but
think that we'll get to that point.
No, he's
Um,
referencing the anime Sword Art Online. That's the whole
well, Sword
anime.
Art Online, no, it's an anime, yeah, Sword Art Online, but there has been videos of mentions of something like this wanting to be developed. Now imagine that. If they want to develop something like this, a virtual reality game in a VR,
mhm.
and they're trying to move so fast to the point that hey, Sword Art Online can do it, we can do it in real life. Like that's something that's just, yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I'm
think that
good.
that'll ever
Yeah, I
go.
don't think so
I
either.
don't think that'll ever go
Hey,
over
we've said
very
shit
well.
like that to other things, and it's happened. So I mean, let's just hope
I
it
mean,
stays as
I mean,
no.
yeah, but that's
I think
that's on the extreme.
yeah.
But yeah, no. Either way, my whole point about it is like the ads are getting insane because they're even talking about trying to do a little thing where they're putting ads into video games
See,
themselves.
and I remember when Netflix first came out, it was like you pay the subscription, or even before the subscription, ads weren't even Snapchat ads were not a thing at all ever.
Nope.
Why we get away from the television to get away from those ads, infomercials, commercials, all that shit? We get away from that,
Well,
and
now if you subscribe to just the base version of Netflix, that has ads.
it's stupid for what?
So
I
if you pay if you I think it's like $4.99 or $6.99 or something for the
Yeah.
base version of
Hmm.
Netflix, that has ads. You don't get the 4K content. You don't get,
It's one
the
Multi-screen
4K
device.
stuff.
play,
Yeah,
yeah.
one device.
It's one device and ads.
That's stupid. I mean, I got away. We got away from TV for a reason. We got done with
Right.
commercials. It's like radio,
Right.
Spotify, Pandora, YouTube Music. We don't listen to the radio because it's constant loop all fucking day, all fucking week, for
Well,
fucking ever.
that's what I got mad at Sirius XM for, right? So my car came with a free year of Sirius XM. Okay, no problem. Well, I started to notice because way back in the day, if you remember, because Sirius XM came out way before Spotify and stuff, you didn't really have ads on Sirius XM.
Hmm.
Period.
Yeah, it was the whole purpose of it
Now,
was to avoid ads.
now it's like, what the hell? This is basically just the radio, only you can listen to the same station
Yeah.
no matter what state you're in, and no static. Screw that. And then, you know,
Mhm.
I
It
feel
it
like
annoys me.
Spotify's gonna be trying to do some old fuckery to where it's a tier system, and
It's
they're gonna
annoying.
start interjecting ads into that again until you get the top tier.
See, and that's why they do it. So back to the whole, honest living. That's another thing. They push that ad bullshit for you to spend more. Basically, they're upselling you. So it's like you don't want to listen to this, get the premium.
Well, yeah, even YouTube tried to stop us from being able to use ad block
But
a few months ago.
they got pooped on because of that bullshit.
Yeah,
Subscribers, I spend. my wife and I spend what, like $20 a month, and we do the music share, and I think that's the reason why is because it's four of us. I don't know. I don't pay for it. I don't look through it. I just know that it gets paid for.
So
But go ahead.
I can tell you right now,
Oh, by the way,
probably.
a whole YouTube thing. They just raised the price from $12.99 a month to $18.99 for YouTube
Now, is
Premium.
that YouTube Music or YouTube
No, that's
TV?
YouTube Premium.
I thought it was $13.99 for YouTube
No, they
Premium.
just
See,
raised the
and
price to
and
$18.99.
that's another thing. Like, why do you have to raise a price to stream TV streaming? You know, video streaming, whatever. If I don't get that, I really don't.
We are talking about Alphabet, Google, basically. Like, Google is
Yeah.
one of the biggest companies in the whole world. They
Oh,
do
no,
not
no, no,
need
no,
it.
no. This is even more egregious. Okay, check this out. All right. YouTube Premium costs $13.99 per month for individuals or $18.99 per month for iOS users who subscribed through the YouTube app.
Okay.
See, but I don't subscribe on my end. That's through my wife's phone. She has to.
So basically is what they're doing is they're shitting on Apple users. So if you're an Apple user and you subscribed for YouTube Premium through the YouTube app itself, they're going to charge you an additional $5 over what everybody else is being charged. You know what? I'm about ready for an upgrade, so I'm about to go back to. I love my Samsung. I'm about to go back to my Samsung because this is some booty. What you mean you gonna charge me an extra $5 because I've got Apple?
Just because we fucking own an Apple, really? Like what?
Dirty ass crapple devices.
Like
Get out of here.
what is Apple charging you to be able to provide your service through their product? Like what the fuck? You
I
make
do
enough money.
think. Okay, so I think it's because Google owns the Android Play Store because they own Android, right? So they can circumvent the
What's the Google Play Store? It's not Android. It's Google Play
or
Store.
sorry, well, Google owns Android, but they can circumvent the whole 30% or whatever that it costs to have in-app purchases. Whereas
I
with
don't know.
iOS, since Apple owns it, they charge Google
Oh,
30%.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. YouTube Premium costs $18.99 per month for iOS users because YouTube passes along Apple's fee for in-app transaction.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
because Crapple wants to charge everybody and 30% of whatever the hell they're making off of apps.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what, Apple users? We're gonna have to pay that cost. I'll be damned. I'll be damned.
I don't pay
to my
that
cell phone. I'm going to my cell phone provider tomorrow.
I don't
am
pay
gonna
that
find
cost.
out. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. 'Cause
My
no,
my
ma'am.
wife has a Samsung and it's all on hers, and we do basically like music sharing. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
so I don't get charged that extra 5 premium bullshit.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Toucan Sam. I am not doing that.
Now, I kind of want to mention Spotify because I heard it got brought up, right? And Spotify is in actually a very interesting spot in terms of where it's at right now. So Spotify is actually free with ads. It's completely free with ads.
Yep.
But it charges a flat premium rate for premium without ads. And I think...
And it hasn't went up.
Right, it has not. And I think this is actually a very advantageous spot for Spotify to be in because all these other companies are making themselves look like idiots and very greedy. Whereas Spotify is what is it called? It's like the golden chicken, if you will, or whatever they call it, the golden egg.
The golden goose.
The golden goose. Yeah, it's really like a goodwill gesture to its customers, like, hey, we haven't raised our prices and all that.
Well,
See, what
Radio does the same thing too.
Yeah, but what I wish they would do, let's say you got your subscribers that are grandfathered in. Hey, you guys have been with us this long. We will keep this flat rate. Now, I get you want to raise your price a few dollars, but when you want to go jump like $6 to $10, we got a problem.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's and Netflix is the biggest. They're the biggest offenders. All right, Netflix has literally went up every single year. It started out going up by $2.50, and then it went to $5. Now it's getting $6, $7, $8, $9. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm paying almost $30 a month for Netflix, and I can't password share you. greedy bitch.
Well,
What
Disney
do you
Plus did
mean?
the same thing also with Hulu. Hulu, and then I'm sorry for Hulu. Hulu's got some great stuff, but bro, bring some shit into Hulu because Netflix be kicking your ass on shows and shit, and I'm paying a bundle, and then in order for me to be able to do what I want to do, you don't want us password sharing. Like, who cares on the password share? You're making your money every month anyways from your subscribers.
Well, actually, on the password sharing thing, I wanna include some comments on that. So you guys know the whole Netflix thing where they I'm hearing myself echo.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. Um, the whole Netflix thing where they did this campaign against password sharing and all that. Everyone was gonna be like, yeah, everyone's gonna cancel Netflix about that. It was actually a successful campaign. Literally, they got more money by people subscribing. Now hold on, I'm not done yet. I know. Um,
Initially, they did.
no, they still are. It was a successful campaign in general. But in regards to Hulu and I think HBO, I don't know which one, if it was Hulu or HBO, one of the two. The way they essentially operate their service, to my understanding, is they took a large what's it called? Jeez, I'm blanking out right now. They took a large loan, and they invested it in new shows and getting exclusive shows for their platform.
That was Hulu.
Hulu, there you go. And then that was their kind of marketing in the sense that they did all this stuff to justify their platform and differentiate it, and then now they're reaping the costs from their loan. And it was successful. It did work actually. They made more money than the loan and they profited, right?
HBO's old money. They don't need loans.
Gotcha. But yeah, so they did all this and it worked. Okay, so you have all these companies that are having successful campaigns. They're making money. Profits are great. What is the need to continually up the price? It's not like it's randomly costing, double the amount to stream the show, right?
Because here's the thing, right? All right. So is what they're doing is here's their model, and it's always been their model. Come to us, we're cheaper than cable and satellite, right? So over these years, as cable and satellite loses more and more customers, cable and satellite goes up and up. So they are able to continue to go up and up because they're still cheaper than cable and satellite. So what we're paying right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
For all of these, for HBO and the HBO Disney Plus bundle, for or not HBO but Hulu and Disney Plus bundle,
Yeah.
HBO Max, Peacock,
Mm-hmm.
Paramount.
Netflix, Paramount
Paramount.
Plus,
Mm-hmm.
AMC, and Prime, right? So what we're paying right now is what we would have been paying for cable and satellite 3 years ago.
But minus the ads and commercials, because you still get some of them in some of these premiums. That it's just
But
like
Amazon Prime just added commercials and ads to their stuff unless you pay an additional $2.99.
this is why I stick to Crunchyroll. People, fuck yeah, fuck TV. I'm sorry, fuck TV, fuck all the shows. Ain't nothing good anymore. I just watch anime.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I actually would like to also comment on the whole Amazon thing because they've had tremendous success right now with their Fallout TV series that they just came out with. It's already got approved for season 2 and 3, I think. So it's got greenlit for that. So I think they're trying to do this change.
Yeah, when's the best time to ask customers for more money?
Right before season 2 and 3, right?
Never. That would be the answer. Never. But
yeah,
again,
that would be our answer. But
that would be our answer. Yeah, that'd be great, right? Like that would be the best thing of all. Like just hey, you've been loyal customers. Like let's say satellite cable TV. They keep loyal customers is because every time a loyal customer calls, like, hey, I've had your service for 10 plus years. Same thing with cell phones. They will give you the fattest discount just to keep you, and they will keep that discount for as long as you live and as long as you keep that service.
Well, they'll tell you for the next 2 years, we'll give it to you for this price, right? So is what happens there is, yeah, they give you that fat discount. It locks you into a contract for 24 months. Once that contract is over, they're going to get you for a bill or two until you notice it, right? And then you're going to call in and you're going to be like, I've had it. Da, 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 da. They're going to give you a fat ass discount again.
Yeah.
And And that's what they did for years and years and years, and it worked. But even with that fat ass discount they're giving,
They're upselling
Netflix,
premiums.
Hulu, and everything else was still cheaper.
Yeah.
So as they raise their prices, Netflix, Hulu, Prime, Paramount Plus,
All the
Peacock,
streaming, all the streaming
all
apps.
of it is going to keep going up. So they're going to stay right here, and cable and satellite's going to stay here, and it's just going to do that.
See,
That's
this is what we mean by money hungry. Like we get it. You know, you got billions and billions of people who are getting in these subscriptions for streaming. It's where the money hungry stuff comes in again. It's just
But here's the thing:
when this
whenever you have so much money, you can ride around in Mercedes Benz, Bentleys. You have private jets. You have so much money. You're now building underground bunkers and shit, like multi-million-dollar underground bunkers. I think you've got enough money, bruh.
you want to share that bunker with me, anybody? Because I'd be putting in some of that money for that work. So please fucking let me in.
Right?
Right.
Ain't
I
that
think I
it?
deserve,
I
I
mean,
think I deserve some fucking safety. What the fuck?
fair enough. I kind of want to bring up a topic and kind of get you guys' input on this. So you know, with the whole, as Twiz said, where you raise the price of TV providers or whatever, so does the price of Netflix and all them raises. I think that model is destined to fail because Netflix, while yes, it's expensive, right? The TV provider stuff is starting to become a niche. So the people that have that are usually your older people. They don't even know what Netflix is and shit like that.
Well,
But
regardless, they're
oh,
eventually going to hit a ceiling.
I know, but what I'm saying is you can charge that because it's a niche. Those people they're just dead set in their ways. They want their cable, right? That you can charge them whatever, they're gonna want their cable. But Netflix is mainstream. Almost everyone has a Netflix. Almost everyone knows what Netflix is, right? It's super mainstream. And if you have this mainstream brand treat its customers like a niche, I think there's gonna be a point where it's like, what the hell am I paying for? You know?
This is exactly why I said fuck TV. I'm just on anime because the anime Crunchyroll, the streaming app for Crunchyroll.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their prices they're pretty great, and you get to password share. They don't got a problem with it, and I mean, I haven't seen the
Don't give
price.
them no ideas.
I know, you know, man, those ideas are gonna come out, but they know what they're doing. They know that it if you're gonna want to keep the customer like anywhere else on anything else, you want to be the cheapest person, right?
Yep.
As much as cheap as you can stay. I'm not saying that stay cheap. You're not, you know, you're not gonna get any money out of it or you know whatnot. You can keep something $5 forever if the product works and it continues to work for 20 plus years. Right now, Crunchyroll's on what? Maybe I want to say 5, 6 years.
I
I think
think
it's all
older
way
than
older
that.
than that,
See,
surely.
I just got Crunchyroll maybe a few years ago, so I like that's what I'm saying. Like I remember Crunchyroll,
So
what,
since
Bruh,
2006.
Crunchyroll's 18 years old, bruh.
Yeah.
and they're on. They've been. I came in on the same price that I still pay now, and basically still receive the same service. New anime coming out. I don't have to pay extra for premium bullshit for new shit. It's already there. I mean, and I would rather watch anime than TV. There's nothing on TV anymore. I'm sorry. There's not. All the ideas for TV have gone out the window. Everything's repeated, but in a different format.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like you got first you had the Bachelor and the Bachelorette. Now you got the Bachelor Bachelorette fucking island
Oh,
bullshit. Spin-offs.
that's for them old people. That's for
I'm sorry. I watch with
them
my mama,
old
right?
drama
I
Karens,
watch with
bruh.
my mama.
Well, them old drama Karens.
Well,
I watch with my
here's
mama.
a recent little development. So The Witcher, I think we all, well, at least me and Twiz here, loved The Witcher season 1. Season 2 is a little bit worse, then season 3 worse, so on and so forth.
I
It's
don't know. I kind of liked season 3.
See, but
so
it's hard though. It's hard to start a show too to know like the first season of every show is great. Second season you tiptoe, and then third season you start to fuck it all up because it's like there's no storyline anymore. Because you can't come up with an idea. You go the same route that everybody else goes through. There's no fucking point. Like I'm sorry to cut off on you there, what's that? But what is that? The 100?
Oh, the
Yeah.
100. Yeah, yeah.
And Oz is another one. I liked the first 2 seasons, but when you drag a main character for as long as you do, and it goes nowhere, then I get bored of it. Like I can't continue to watch something and then just decide, hey, okay, cool, I'm gonna pay the streaming app and expect me to continue to pay, but you still want me to watch garbage.
Very
That's
true.
that's why I'm thoroughly enjoying the House of the Dragon format. I don't know if you checked that out yet, Zazie. But so their first season, each episode is like 5 to 10 years into this. So you had episode 1, episode 2 is 5 to 10 years into the future. Episode 3 is another like 3 to 5 years. Episode 4 is another like year or two, whatever, all the way to episode 8. Now season 2, same thing, and then season 3 will probably be a whole different cast with a whole different like storyline and stuff like that. So I'm
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoying that.
Let's put this out there. Please, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that thinks this. Days of Our Lives just needs to stop.
Blech. That shit's been on for 30 years, and y'all have done the same cookie cutter.
You kill someone
story.
to bring them back. You kill them off, and then you bring them back. It's like, yo, do we? What?
Man, I remember whenever I was a little kid, my grandma watching Days of Our Lives in General Hospital, and I think it was General Hospital. This one dude died like 1 week, and then the next time I was over at grandma's house, she's all up in arms about this dude that is back alive, but he wasn't dead. He had a car accident, and he got dragged off somewhere and was in a coma or whatever, and now he's back.
You know who's famous for that? Mexican soap operas.
Yeah,
That's where they get it from.
telenovela.
Yep, that's where they get it from, because Mexican soap operas. And I grew up with my great grandmother and grandmother around. Thank God that I got to be with my great grandmother, and my grandmother's still around. But telenovelas, Mexican soap operas, that's where they get it from. They get the idea from that, because it's hardcore drama. It's good. And then they're dead. And then 1 week or 2 weeks go by and shit's going on, right? And then next thing you know, you see the person come back, but they're not the same person, but at the same time they are. They get the memory back type shit.
Right.
It's insane. Like, it's good because it's Mexican soap opera, and the way the actors and actresses portray and act it out, it's actually pretty fun because they have so much passion into it. But that's where they get the idea from. That's what I think. They get the idea from Mexican soap operas.
And they probably do, but you can't keep that same level of acting going for
No.
20, 30 fucking plus years. Like, you have beat these shows into the ground. You have milked them for everything they are worth.
And that's
Give
why
up
this
your
had
time
stopped.
slot and give it to someone else.
That's why The Simpsons had stopped for 30 years, and then they came up with new ideas and other back. Same thing with Futurama. Futurama started coming up with some new episodes and stuff. Like, I get it. Sit on the bench, write some new shit, man. You want to come back, bring it back, but bring some more
Originality.
Bring back the originality. Where is that? Like, you follow up with something, you do it, and like, you're not catching my attention to give you your views that you want.
Right.
Well, not to be disorienting or anything, but back to what I was gonna try to say about half an hour ago, in regards to The Witcher. So what I was saying is they did Henry Cavill very dirty, first of all, because the dude was genuinely passionate about the role, and the only reason he wasn't wanting to continue is because the writers were making an ass out of themselves.
They were deviating from the books.
So Asmongold kind of mentioned this. You guys are paying the writer of the Witcher series more than every director on the set, more than every script writer combined. Why not use the source material? There's a reason people love the source material. And, this is completely different from what you guys were talking about, but there's this whole mentality when it comes to new shows where they want to reinvent the wheel. Every writer wants to reinvent a story for it to be theirs or whatever. Harry Potter was adapted to the films pretty well because they stuck to, J.K. Rowling's vision. They
Absolutely.
didn't. Yeah, they didn't try.
They stuck to those books pretty. Like, they didn't really deviate from the books. They did leave little bits
No,
out.
yeah, they adapted it for a movie, of course, right? I mean, they're
Right,
trying to
but
squeeze it into that. Yeah.
they didn't say, "Oh, we're screw this character. We're going to name them blah 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 and they're going to go do this instead of that." Right?
Okay, for example,
Um
Mhm.
when spoiler alert, but I mean, you've definitely seen Harry Potter, so I'm not even gonna try. When
right.
Albus Dumbledore has to be, killed, unfortunately, and Snape, I think, is the one to kill him, right? They could have. I feel like in today's world, they would have shied away from that and probably not have done that because it's too edgy, it's too dark.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think if they would have shied away from it and made it not like the books, that they would have let Draco go through with it and kill him.
Yep.
Oh,
Not
okay,
just
fair, yeah.
I do not think that they would have shied away from killing off Albus Dumbledore
it would
or any
probably be
cast
a
member.
spin-off off of that. There would probably be like an alternate timeline, not an alternate,
Mm,
but a spin-off timeline for something else, for something to happen to Dumbledore.
okay.
Let's say, and I had a perfect example and it's gone, fucking brain. But deviating from stories, novels. There we go. Novels in school, you read a novel, they deviate from the story just a hair, but you get what you get. Um, Harry Potter is a great example. I would think that if they shied away from Snape, killing Dumbledore, like Twisted said, it could be Draco. They would probably do a side timeline into the future for Draco or something, and
Mm,
then coming to the point that Draco may be the one to kill Dumbledore at some point,
okay. I,
or
I
even
kind
his
of just
father,
used that as an
even his
example.
father. Yeah,
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
now
that's true.
I will say about people shying away from certain things in books because it's air quotes too hot for TV or something like
Well,
that. Like
yeah,
for
that wasn't my main
example,
point, but look, what I'm just saying is like what I was trying to say is that they tried to change the source material so much
yeah,
for
I
adapting it
know,
for a current audience.
and that's why. So Game of Thrones, very very successful, but a lot of people didn't like the ending. But a lot of people who read the books, they at first they didn't like it at all. They still have complaints throughout the entire series because there was a lot of things that were in the written literature that was not or was completely changed from the written literature because either A, it didn't fit the artistic criteria of the writers, or B, they thought it would be too hot for TV. And my whole thing about it is A, you're HBO, right? B, if it can be written in written literature, it can be in libraries, it can be on bookshelves in Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart, all of that shit, right? So it's readily available book form. Don't tell me that it's too hot for TV.
Oh my god. I agree. Same thing with radio. Like you can bring all this junk into radio, but it's not too hot for the radio for for listeners. Why are people so afraid of going based off of what's written? You
Right.
know, that's
Now,
that's
whenever I say too hot for TV, I also mean like too gruesome, stuff like that. All
you
right.
can
So
deviate away from gruesome. Like you
so
can
in
do something.
but in Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
You had the mountain pop the viper's head like a
Yeah.
pimple.
Yeah.
Remember
This is
that
why
fight?
they
And
came up with TV ratings.
that was televised. So don't tell me that the other things in the Game of Thrones books were too gruesome or too dark.
What's what's fun,
Okay?
what's funny is there's movies that are created based off of books, and they go based off of the books of how gruesome they are, like literally. And you guys and viewers, I know you guys watch it, and you guys are thinking, "Well, Twisted's right," like it is too hot for TV. But there are movies that are based off of books that you guys go watch, and it's like 50 Shades of Grey. Ain't nothing
Mhm.
but sex. You go
Right.
watch it.
Right. And my whole thing about it is A, I don't think that it's too gruesome or too hot. I think that it is two things. Number 1, lazy storytelling.
Mhm.
Number 2, the writers slash directors slash producers wanting to put their own stamp on someone else's works.
That's exactly what I was getting at right there.
Mhm.
Exactly. With The Witcher, you know, the first season was so incredibly successful. I mean, it shattered records. And then they started deviating a little bit with season 2 from the source material, and then so on and so forth, to the point where now Henry Cavill is no longer on it. They've already announced that they're canceling it. They're not renewing it again after the next season. So they've killed it.
Wow.
Yeah, they've completely killed it. And why? Like, just you could have literally went with the source material. Henry Cavill.
Because nobody wants to enjoy anything anymore.
Exactly.
Everybody's just like, no, it's not too good for. Who gives a fuck? Enjoy the fucking storyline, the way it's supposed to be intended to be. I mean, shit, dude. It's all we got left in this fucking world.
Well,
Enjoy
and that's why I said the writers, producers, and directors, they're trying to put their own stamp on someone else's work because they're too fucking lazy and not even anywhere near creative enough to make their own, original shit.
Yeah.
So they go off the backs of these brilliant writers, and then they butcher the fuck out of their story as soon as they have the rights and licenses to them.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's why I was like, if you look at Harry Potter, for example, so successful, incredibly successful, because they didn't deviate. They didn't try to reinvent the story. It was a good story.
Well, that's because J.K. Rowling, the only way that she would sign over her stuff was she had conditions in there, and she was a big enough bitch to actually make them follow through with it.
And I wish George Lucas did the same thing for Star Wars, and he
Agreed. I mean, that's a perfect one right there.
Can't.
No, I'm mad. No, don't take that away from me. Do not take that away from me.
I 100% agree.
I swear to God, if George Lucas still owned Star Wars franchise, I swear to God, we would still get the same epic shit that we've been receiving back in the day. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good now. It's good for the, it's entertainment for, the people and the children. But dude, if George Lucas stayed with it, I can guarantee you that the timeline would be just, fucking great. And the only condition that George Lucas had was he assisted in partaking, helping out, creating the movies from there forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But you can only do so much by inputting. Then to take that idea and say, okay, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna take the idea and you say, nah, out the window. I don't give a fuck about
you should have kept Lucasfilm Studio.
Yep.
I mean, look, everything Jon Favreau has touched with Star Wars has been wonderful, in my opinion.
And like I said, it's great. It's still good, and I'm glad that he's working with George Lucas and able to put those ideas into play. But how much of those ideas does George Lucas have to be able to input into movies now from here on out?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing. Just by, well, not same thing, but just based off of how everything's worked, and now that Obi-Wan, you have Obi-Wan, you have these timelines, and I wish the Star Wars movie franchise, I hope it continues, because
same.
There's a long timeline that it'll continue just to the point where we want it. I can guarantee you there's no end timeline if George Lucas continued the franchise.
And that's interesting because we have the old saga, right? The old trilogy, which is episode 1 to 7, I think. And that was its own storyline. So after 7, it kind of finished. That was the end of that story, right? Then they started doing this weird thing with Rey Skywalker. And it was almost like every movie was its own start to finish story. And then the last 2 episodes, I think 9 and 10 or something, or 8 and 9, whatever. That was kind of its own thing as well with what's his name? The grandson, Darth Vader's grandson, I forgot his name, but Kylo. With Kylo, yeah. George Lucas took this storyline, beautiful story, over 7 movies. This is why we were so invested in it. We wanted to see, Anakin. We saw Anakin progress from a little boy, an innocent boy, to all the way to a Jedi Knight, all the way to a Sith Lord, and then in the end, fooled everyone, and he was actually good. He saved his son. So that really engaged the audience. That was a beautiful storytelling. Whereas nowadays we have Rey Skywalker, like she's a badass, and apparently she can heal with the Force. She's the chosen. Like, why? Why does she have to be this crazy, overpowered? Like, I don't know. You can tell the storytelling really dropped off, in my opinion.
They were trying to go based off philosophy because remember there was a
And fan
what was
service.
it? Yoda. Yoda had mentioned that at some point in the timeline there was going to be someone who was in as one with the Force and do basically what Ray Skywalker does. But I wish the storyline was better, as in instead of one individual movie and this is what it is, this is what it is, and this is the end,
Yeah,
and then the next one. I wish it would continue the way George Lucas did 1 through 7
exactly. I think it
in
should have
that
been
format.
expanded. Right, exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I know we got an off topic there, but it's just a lot, man. It's a lot. Trying to give an answer, we give a lot of examples and stuff, but you viewers, you guys know what you want. And I'm pretty sure it's the same thing we've been saying. You just don't want to say it because you think it's that's the way it's supposed to be. Sometimes it's not.
Right.
Fair enough. Fair
So
enough.
moving on, what do you guys think about Saber Interactive's boss thinks $70 games are coming to an end and a huge content drought is incoming?
So I agree with half of it. The $70 game part, I don't know, because companies are just way too greedy. Um, but I do think a huge content drought is coming, and I'll tell you why. The reason games are so expensive nowadays is because these companies like Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, EA, etc., they spend so much money to crank these games out so fast that they want to try to recoup as much of that money as quickly as possible so their investors don't be like, well, you guys just spent $120 million on this game and you only have 20 million out of it instead of all of it. So they crank the price up, try to get a ton of sales, and then that's why they discount it later. Um, I think that whole entire model of making the game like that is just, it's set up for failure. It really is. It's not going to work anymore. People are not wanting to spend so much money on a game that's new just to play with their friends. It's going to be buggy. It's trash, monetized in a trash way. It's just not feasible. It really isn't. We are seeing indie companies now that are surpassing launches of AAA games. I can give you an example. This year so far, the main games we've heard about is Palworld, Helldivers, you know, indie games. Like literally, they're indie games. They're not. These are not AAA companies.
But to be honest, I would prefer AAA companies to release a game, slow down on the release of a new one. All right, because back in my day, so back whenever I was a kid and I was playing video games, I got very used to, and I'm sure Zazie remembers this as well. We got very used to, okay, these 3 or 4 games are coming out this year, right? We would get those 3 or 4 games, or we would get like one, maybe 2 of them at most. We would play the shit out of those 1 or 2 games for like 2 or 3 years, and then we would buy the other 2 games after we played the shit out of the other 2
Yep.
and play those for a couple more years before the new fucking little mess of new games came out. Like
Perfect
I
example.
remember playing fucking Tomb Raider 1 and 2 like 13, 14 times over
Duke
from
Nukem,
start to finish.
Turok,
Duke Nukem, yeah, no shit.
Turok. Let me put some history into y'all new folk around here. I used to love, and I still do. I used to love sit there, and I can guarantee the older folk, in our age group, they would agree. Metal Gear Solid.
Bruh, bruh, 7 times, start to finish. I played Metal Gear Solid, and then it was like what 5, 6 years later, Metal Gear Solid Snake came out.
Yep.
And I played the exact same shit over and over and over again. I played through that
Final
fucking
Fantasy
game.
is the same way.
Final
Final
Fantasy,
Fantasy is
yep.
exactly the
I
same way.
played I played the shit out of Age of Empires 1 and 2, right? For years I played that game. Diablo 2, both of those OG games, played the shit out of them.
And the
I
only
had
reason,
I had every character that they had to offer in those 2 games level 99.
without needing to make in-game purchases.
Right.
So
Other than the expansions.
other than yeah, so games that I enjoy playing, like Twisted mentioned, Diablo and stuff like that, are grinding games. Grinding games they kind of get long and boring, but you can continue as long and as much as you want without having to deal with BS. You know,
You also back then you also felt like you could, like, if you got bored of a game, you could put it down, you could go do something else, you could go outside, you could touch grass for, a couple weeks and come back, and you haven't missed anything. Your friends haven't
no
moved
updates,
on. Your
no
friends
updates.
haven't moved on to that new shiny fucking bullshit buggy ass game. I think
And you said buggy,
developers
and I want to also add, a lot of the games you guys are talking about released as what we call feature complete, meaning you got a
exactly
whole game.
with no bugs.
Nowadays, nowadays, I don't think have we had a feature complete game release at all, except Helldivers 2, and that's a live service. So can you really say,
Harry Potter Legacy.
Harry?
Spider-Man's good. Spider-Man's good. I'm sorry, Spider-Man is one that's pretty good as well. I mean,
Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
they're all Spider-Man movies from
I mean, yeah,
PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2 from PlayStation 2 Spider-Man. It's been a great
yeah.
storyline.
I
Okay.
mean, there are games that are releasing
It's very
that
rare.
are, yeah, but it's getting
Incredible.
more and more rare, right? And the fact is like a lot of the games that are releasing that are buggy are from these huge companies that have huge budgets that are putting time constraints on their employees and either doing mass hirings or mass firings or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. They keep shaking the companies up. We're watching video games that are being in development, and all of a sudden there's a buyout or a merger happening or something like that. So a whole new team gets put on it. Or in the case of Activision's Modern Warfare 3, which was supposed to be a DLC, converted into a whole nother game mid project. There
A
you
DLC to
go.
Modern Warfare 2, by the way, just so you can.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was the DLC to Modern Warfare 2, and then they decided to make it its own game, Modern Warfare 3,
You're right.
at the last, like, what, 2 months.
And let's not forget the other games besides like Activision stuff, the other Call of Duties, the Black Ops and stuff like that that follow Black Ops from here on out. They're
Well,
now
that's Treyarch, but they're still under Activision.
well. What I mean by that is I'm sorry, it's Treyarch. Let's say Treyarch comes in also. They were supposed to be expansions also. They're whole separate games within the Call of Duty game itself as well. Like
Yep.
Cold War, you had to get Cold War instead of an expansion. It was a whole game.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I hate it
Well,
because
that's been Activision's business model since Call of Duty went online.
yeah,
Mm.
which was what was it?
2000, like 2005, I
But they
think.
didn't implement it and bring it out until Call of
I think it was
Duty
Modern
World War
Warfare
Two.
1.
World War Two, not World War Two. Was it
No, World
World
War
War
2
Two?
is still single player, I think.
Hold on. So 2003 is whenever it first went online.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 1 second.
Just to let you know, I was 13 years old around that time.
Okay. Okay, it was Call of Duty.
Oh, it's just
That's
Call of
that's
Duty.
what
Okay.
that's what the name of the game was just
No,
Call of
yep,
Duty.
yep.
It released as a single player game, came out with a patch to make it online. All
Mm-hmm.
right. And then from then, let me put this in order. Okay, so you had Call of Duty, that was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Call of Duty United Offense, Call of Duty the Finest Hour, Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 2 Big Red 1, which was an expansion, okay? And then you had Call of Duty 3, Call of Duty Roads to Victory, Call of Duty 4, and then that's Call of Duty 4 was the launch of Modern Warfare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
yeah,
yeah,
by then, yeah, they were.
it was called Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Is
Okay.
what it was
I
called.
remember that.
So this right here is where they were already getting into the mindset of Modern Warfare, Black Ops, right?
Yep.
But so you had after Modern Warfare, you had World at War. That's where they kind of blasted back to the past a little bit. And then after World at War, you went back to Modern Warfare 2. Okay.
That was
And then
PS3, Xbox 360 at the
and then
time.
2010 was the launch of Call of Duty Black Ops.
Okay.
Then 2011 was Modern Warfare 3. 2011, same year, launched the zombies version
Mm-hmm.
for Black Ops.
Black Ops 2.
And then 2000, 2012 was Black Ops 2.
Mm-hmm.
And after Black Ops 2 was Black Ops Declassified 2012.
That wasn't an expansion. That was an actual game.
That was for the Vita, PS Vita.
Okay.
2013 was Call of Duty Strike Team. Then Ghosts, then Advanced Warfare, then Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare,
Mm-hmm.
Modern Warfare Remastered, Call of Duty World War II, Black Ops 4.
World War
uh,
II is what
yeah.
started the PvE type thing, right? Because they started doing what PUBG started to do. They started doing the open world, battle royale
Oh,
bullshit.
the battle royale. Yeah, yeah.
That's what I was talking about. That's what I was getting at. Where it started at World
You're
War
talking
II
about
for battle
Warzone.
royale.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Warzone with World War II is how it started, and it was supposed to be expansion, but they've expansion game. We're gonna bring an expansion game instead, and it's like $70 games aren't going anywhere. Either they're gonna stay the same or they're gonna go up. And then the Xbox Series X, or Xbox One X was out for what, 3 to 4 years before they came up with the concept of the Series X and S. Another
Mhm.
5 years they're gonna come up with something else for the PlayStation and Xbox. And
Well,
guess what?
they're already talking about a PS5 Pro, right?
There
Yeah.
you go. See, so not so still playing the PS5 stuff, but after the PS5, imagine because of all the technology that we're having, $70 aren't going to be the same. It's going to go to $80 to $85 because not just that, the the graphics. You're going to have to keep up with the graphics. Then you have to get a new TV for those graphics. Those $70 games aren't going to go down. They're not going to go anywhere. Unless the only way you're going to get them is if you want to go to GameCube, PS1, PlayStation Original, PS2, PS3. You want those games, you can order those online. You can get those games back at 50, $60. That's the
Which,
only way you're going to get them.
to be honest, I'm starting to kind of miss the old school games. Like I was looking at Steam, and Steam had all of the Tomb Raiders, the OG Tomb Raiders, and I seriously thought about purchasing that bundle because it was like $30 for all 3 games. So that's $10 a game, and I got hours and hours and hours of enjoyment out of those games each time I played through them. And that's just like Resident Evil as well.
Yeah, I kind of have been thinking the whole gaming industry right now is like a bubble that's about to burst, because I just don't think people are really trusting these AAA developers like they used to, with all the garbage they've been spewing out. And
Well,
it's fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. And I
Right.
think we're at the point where it's like fool me 800th time.
Fool me 3 times and I'm the asshole.
I
But
keep
no,
getting bit by fucking snakes, basically what it is.
I think, well, it's not
Yeah.
only that either, but you also have to think about it like this. Okay, so and I'm at this point too, and I think you know that as well, Wasip, because I say it all the time. I buy a game, right? And I'm an old school gamer. I'm used to buying a game and I'm used to playing the fuck out of that game
Yeah.
for a while, right? Until I'm just done with it. But I'm buying a game to play with my friends. We get on it, we play it for 2 weeks, and there's a new fucking game that drops that everybody wants to play. It's the new flavor of the week. And it's like, okay, what is the point in me investing this money for this game to jump to the new game.
I don't feel like that's the problem anymore. I feel like that was a problem maybe like a year or two ago. Sorry, Zazzy, I'll shut up here in a sec. I know you want to say something. But you know, recently there hasn't been any games that really piqued people's interest. There really hasn't. I mean, Helldivers was the most recent one for me, and
Well,
that's
no,
it. Really.
in the past 4 months, it's been Power World, Helldivers, and it was Deep Rock a new game or an old one?
Deep Rock's an old game. It's from 2016, I think, or 2018.
Okay, so it's been Power World and Helldivers
That's what I said.
are the
Yeah.
two,
Yeah.
and they released within weeks of each other. So, because I remember I bought Power. By the time I bought Power World, right,
Mm-hmm.
a week after I bought Power World, everybody jumped. To
Well, I
Helldivers.
also would still be on Power World right now had I had a server running, but that's besides
Well,
the point.
and I get that, but the thing is all the other people that we were playing with has now diverted to Helldivers, or you know, there's a couple people that went over to 5M.
5M is really
Scrolls.
old. 5M's
Oh.
very old.
I know it's very old, but there's a couple people that jumped over to that. So
Well, I don't think we should be faulting people for wanting to play what they want to play. I think the major
not-
issue is there isn't a game that's come out that can retain people's attention for that long because of what like this whole ideology that AAA developers are implementing. You know, it's like you
I
said.
guess
It's like you said, Modern Warfare 3 was supposed to be an expansion, right? But here you are trying to make this thing into a whole separate game. Hey, Noah, welcome in chat. It's all good.
What up,
Good to
Noah?
see you too. You know, they're trying to push this expansion as a whole entire game. And look, I was alive when we had those feature complete games still as well. I remember going to Family Video, I think, renting a game, and you know, for a week or a whole weekend, I did nothing but play that game. I put like 24 hours in a weekend on that game, for example. Those
I'm
days
about
are
to show
gone.
my age. I'm about to show my age. Fuck Family Video. I remember Movie Gallery.
Okay, I don't know.
Bitches in Hollywood Video.
Hollywood. I think I remember
And
Hollywood
Big
Video.
Time Video.
Mother
Hot
suckers.
damn.
But yeah, you know, those days unfortunately are like they're gone. I mean, you rarely now will have a developer that will be like that, but you really gotta dig. Like Hogwarts Legacy, that was the game that came out. That was the full game. You got the full game. Granted, they had to take out the whole Quidditch thing, but you know, it is what it is. Whatever.
I played Diablo 2 for at least 5 days a week for 5 years.
Diablo 2 is a good one. You know, back in those days, that, you know, Diablo 2 was a full game. You could spend all that time on it. Now, Diablo 4, I lost interest in that after season 1.
Why?
Why? Because
Indulge me. Why?
Oh, okay. For me,
I think it's double edged, but go ahead.
okay. You might want to mute your mic because it's gonna take a while. So, okay. So I was new to Diablo. I played Diablo 3. That was my first. That was my first taste of Diablo, and it was one of the later seasons. It was not like the beginning. I don't like having a new character every season to be able to experience new content. I don't like that model whatsoever. Okay,
That's one edge of
that's
the
one
sword.
edge of the sword.
Hold on. Now you see why we get mad about new games that come up, and we. So what Twisted is saying is playing with our friends is, hey, we're a group. This is how you're gonna fucking stick it out, either whether you like it or not. But then you got games that come up, just like you mentioned, you know, and now the same concept of new games that come up like, oh, I want to try the new game. Some of us don't want to. Some of us don't like it. Some of us don't like that type of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a problem. That's just the sad part about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
True.
So the other edge of that sword, though, that I think.
Well, can I say it?
Go ahead.
All right. So Diablo 4 was also as an addition to the series that was marketed as very new ARPG person friendly. It was, I think, it was the most open to new players Diablo's ever been. It's tried to get in the most new players, and a lot of those new players weren't accustomed to how Diablo always worked, I suppose. I don't. Twiz can probably shed on the whole Diablo 2
Diablo
and
2.
1 maybe, because I didn't play those.
I'll tell
But
you now, Diablo 2 was probably the most friendly to new ARPG players.
well, I'm talking about
Diablo
in
2
the
was.
modern era. So no one's gonna go from today and buy Diablo 2 and be like, "Oh, this is amazing for my first Diablo."
But wait a minute. Yes, they would, because they remastered Diablo 2. They
They,
dropped Diablo 2 as a remaster. So yes, people would go back to do that because now
but
it's got the
it's
good
not
graphics and all
inviting
that
to a
shit.
bigger new audience. It's not
Why
bigger. It's
not?
not a mainstream game because not everyone grew up with Diablo 2. Not everyone goes into a franchise on the remaster.
Respectfully, I'll have to agree to disagree.
No, me
That's
too.
fine.
But think about it. Let's go to movies. Ghostbusters. Your new modern Ghostbusters, right? No
Mhm.
one's gonna go back to the old shit. I mean, I would, but no one's gonna go back to the old shit as to where it started.
And you can
Nobody,
look at the
even if
numbers.
it's
I mean,
remastered.
it's true. You can look at
I
the
mean, if they,
numbers. Diablo
well,
4 recently has had way more peak players than Diablo 2 remastered. Um,
okay, well, I'll
Now
give you
back to
that.
the sword. You know, the edge of the sword that you're talking about. Not only did I not like the whole making a new character every season thing, um, but I'm not too big of a fan of the whole PvP aspect of it. It was weird. For me, the PvP was if someone's outgeared you, you're dead instantly. There's no battle, there's no skill. It's just you see them, you're dead. Done. I don't really like that kind of PvP. I know like in World of Warcraft it's kind of similar if you're not doing battlegrounds and stuff like that. If you're just out in the world in a PvP server, someone that's level 16, you're level 5 trying to level up, you're dead. There's nothing you can do about it. I don't like the fact that no matter how much skill you have, you're gonna be dead because just outgearing. So that for me was the
Yeah,
other
see,
kind of.
Diablo 2's PvP wasn't like that. Diablo 2's PvP was all about, okay, if you put in the work and you grind up your levels, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, gear had a little bit to play into it, but gear wasn't like super hard to get either. So, as long as you grinded your levels and you had some okay gear and you were semi-skilled at the game,
Yeah.
especially if you could teleport like with a sorceress, or if you got the Enigma armor, which allowed any character that wore the Enigma breastplate to teleport. So if you had that, you could win a battle.
Well, I
Um,
didn't play Diablo 2, so that's new to me. I didn't know that. But like I said, I think the main issue I had, which completely threw me off and turned me off of the game, every season you have to make a new character. I don't want to do that. I made my character. I want to play with that character. I want to progress with that character.
I also think the last little bit of edge of sword, was the fact that there were so many streamers complaining about the game as well. So
No,
there,
Mhm.
no. I'm gonna be completely and utterly honest with you. I already made the decision not to play the next season without even watching the streamers complain about it.
So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I never touched Diablo. I don't think I can do that. Destiny 2 was the last thing for me for grinding. Um, these new expansions, new powers, I'm kind of done with it. But I don't know if you guys are gonna like this. I mean, I know we're getting a little late, so we can move to our last topic. I want to bring that up. I want to be the one to do that.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't know how long
okay.
it'll be.
Mm.
I don't know how long it'll be before you guys see me. Take it twisted. Appreciate it. Don't be mad at me. I love you.
you good.
Um, so the last topic was Cadillac on Celeste G for $3 million of crap. I mean,
So, I actually have a picture of it. Let me show you guys what it looks like. I'm gonna
I
send
haven't
it.
seen it either, so I'm just like, oh,
Yeah,
I
let
don't
me
even know what
send it
we're
in a
looking
group
at here.
chat for you guys, and then I'll swap over for a second to the thing here.
Personally, I think $3 million for
No, not 3 million, three hundred
anything.
thousand.
Oh, 300, even 300,000 for anything that as soon as you drive it off the lot,
Yeah.
it's
So
depreciated
for
in
our
value.
viewers, Zazzy right now is not there, but I'll switch back to him in a second. That is what the Cadillac Celeste Q. It's a weird name anyway. I wanted to just bring this up because I think not only does it look extremely ugly, right? $300,000 for that.
It's like an orange bucket of shit to me.
It's electric as well, so you have that.
It's electric.
So and again for the mispronunciation, I apologize. The
Oh, you're good.
Celeste Q, that looks like a fucking trash can.
Yeah,
This is
I
this
just
is why I mentioned earlier. in order for you to get something that it should be affordable, you're not paying for the vehicle. You're paying for everything that is installed inside the vehicle.
Yep.
And that shit goes to shit. I'm sorry. Electric vehicles are trash. They'll never be any better. I've seen videos of electric cars carrying gas generators to be recharged. This is stupid. This is stupid. Like to you electric car users, fuck off. I'm sorry. I mean, I work in the green industry also, but damn, like,
But
you
there's a difference. There's a difference between
A Model
like
3, like
wind
that's
power and
30,000.
solar and having solar panels, and maybe having a Tesla, right?
it's the same BS. Like
As to a $300,000 luxury Cadillac
Cadillac
turd.
should be affordable. I mean, yes, it's a high class end car, but it's not a fucking Maserati. It's not a Bugatti. It's none of that shit. This is
Personally, it's a rebadged Lexus, really.
yeah, you're not
I
wrong.
think I think
agree.
Cadillac's trying to compete here with like Rolls Royce or Bentley, and it's not even actually no, it is competing with Rolls Royce at that level because Bentley's like what 120,000 to 180 somewhere in there. So it's not even the same planet as Rolls Royce, and the fact that they think that they can charge 300,000 for that is mind-boggling, to say the least. To me.
Can you read the features to me of this vehicle? Like honestly,
Yeah, a second, let me pull it up for you.
this is gonna be stupid.
I mean, I remember whenever everybody was freaking out about the Cadillac Escalade being an $80,000 SUV.
That's reasonable though.
Nowadays, yes, but this was like 10 years ago. It was
But
80
look how
grand.
big that fucking thing was. That thing's a fucking boat on wheels. What do you
Hey,
mean?
I loved mine though.
That you ain't seen?
So
Don't talk shit, motherfucker.
some of their selling points, right, is world first all electric ultra luxury sedan. Cadillac first 5 advanced HD interactive displays. Advanced all-wheel drive adaptive air suspension with magnetic ride control, active rear steering, and Cadillac first active roll control. So I'm a car guy. So to put that in perspective, guys, they've had magnetic ride control, which can do all of those, since 2016, I think, or 2015, even older than that.
I think it was 2020, mid 2014 when they started bringing out. Who did it first? Chrysler? Somebody did it first. I can't remember. Chrysler or Ford. I don't remember who did it first.
It wasn't Ford. I think it was Chrysler, possibly.
It was
or
probably
Cadillac.
Chrysler because
Yeah.
isn't Chrysler the ones that make Cadillacs anyways?
It's
They were- they're
GM. It's all
under the
part of
same brand.
GM.
GM's under the yeah. So in reference GM, all in general GM. They started doing that around 2014, 2015. And I kind of prefer it, and as to the old school
Shocks, yeah.
fucking well, not the shocks, but we're talking about the steering here.
Okay.
The old school steering column. It breaks, it snaps. You have to buy another one. Cool, you get to replace it. I get that, but the alignment when it goes off, holy hell,
Yeah.
But $300,000 again. I saw a bunch of zeros, no commas, no nothing. So I apologize
Oh, you
for
good.
that as well. But I'm sorry if I'm gonna spend $300,000 on a vehicle, it's going to be an SUV or a truck. Not
Bro,
this.
you could buy a single family house for $300,000.
You
all
could
you
buy a
young-
Rolls Royce.
For all you youngins out there, $300,000 for this piece of shit, you might as well get your own fucking house.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. They're advertising industry first smart glass panoramic sunroof. So you know how Teslas have the P100 model, for example, has that sunroof that's all the way. They're apparently advertising that for theirs. World first climate sense individualized 4-zone microclimate system.
You know what all this sounds like to me?
BS.
A fuck ton of money to get repaired. That's what it sounds like.
Well,
to me.
it's not
this
even
is
that.
exactly why that we say it.
Yeah, the 4 climate zones exist on cars that cost over 200,000 less than this. Over.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just a horrible value. Zazie, you're muted. What were you saying?
Do me a favor. Find out what one part would cost if it were to fuck up on,
It's
on
not
that
out
one
yet.
vehicle.
It's not out
Come on.
yet.
You would think it would be though. See, and that's the problem. Because it's like it's like anything that comes out first. The first bunch that comes out, it's gonna get fucked up. They're gonna go to shit,
Yeah.
and then you got people complaining because they have to pay out of pocket
Well,
because you
remember whenever the Prius and the Honda hybrids came out, and
know.
and their batteries started fucking up, and it was as much as the entire car
Yep.
to get
Hmm.
fixed.
Same thing with all electric cars. I'm sorry, guys, all electric cars, your battery packs are more expensive than the car as well. On top of that, you have to upgrade those batteries. Upgrade, not replace. Upgrade every 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years is what they say for Tesla.
It's
Yep.
retarded.
Yeah,
So
it's
basically, you bought a 3 to 5 year money pit that never ends.
Continuously. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
For the entire time you own the car, it never ends.
Not to
Someone just
mention,
blow these shits up.
not to mention, so since it is battery operated, it's affected by the climate that it's in. So if you live in the northeast of the U.S. or east, even the East Coast, you're gonna have diminished range, worse starting operating conditions because it has to actually heat the battery pack. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but even in Teslas, there is a heating element in the battery pack because it has to heat it up so it can properly function and output the power needed. So that's another thing that gets worn down over time.
But now, question is the same for like really hot climates too, because I know that's
Well, yeah, I was gonna get
being
to that.
really
So
hot can't be good for a battery.
in hot climates, it never gets hot enough to actually affect the battery. But I think some of them, yes, they do have like some cooling stuff. But it's not nearly as important as heating it up when it's very, 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 very cold.
Right, whenever it's frigid out. Yeah.
Right. So
This sounds like a diesel. Sounds like
a block heater. I need to
honestly,
plug my diesel in.
and this is the point that I wish people would understand. People in general, like, think about the pros and the cons. The cons are you live in cold climate areas up north. During a blizzard, during something, you're gonna drive this vehicle through that, and you turn that sucker off. That charge is being sucked out, and to keep it heated up, and then you can't go anywhere because you can't open your charging fucking door, you can't turn your car on, you can't warm it, you can't do nothing because the energy is sucked out in cold climates.
Well,
And
I've
then
watched a lot of influencers that have bought fully electric cars, and it seems like every other week I'm watching at least one of them take their car or have their car towed
the shop
to the dealership to get something fixed
service,
again
yeah. See,
because
and then
something
hot
broke.
weathers, exactly, and hot weathers too. Like me, I live deep South Texas. I'm right next to Mexico. We get 100% fucking humidity basically all year round. I mean, this shit's got to stay cool. Same thing in people who live in the desert areas. It's got to stay cool. Those things go. Those things over time have wear and tear, but they're gonna go like this because they're doing their job consistently on a day-to-day basis.
mhm.
That's money coming out of your pocket, and you putting into putting money payments towards the vehicle.
Not only that, if you live in a cold climate or on the coast, with all that salt, what happens whenever you're driving down the road and your battery falls out the back of the fucking car?
That
That's
would
an
be
extreme.
that would be hard to
And the,
happen because it's the whole underside of your
like I
car.
said,
Yeah.
that's an extreme.
It is the whole
I'm
bottom
being
of that car.
facetious.
If no one knew this, your whole bottom of that car on any electric vehicle is one whole big, well, not one whole. It is filled with little batteries, maybe about this big to this big, and they're filled the bottom of that car, and it's
But I
retarded.
have seen vehicles around here that are so rusted. I'm surprised they're even on the road. So
What are they
it's
made out of? What are they made out of?
metal.
Steel.
Yeah, that
So
ain't shit going away.
I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen. You know what I'm saying? I
I
mean,
would actually like to rebuttal his whole diesel thing. At least diesels last over 1,000,000 miles.
it's very true.
Yeah.
Any vehicle does if you just take care of it. Not electric cars. Don't take me on word for that. On vehicles no, I'm sorry. As long as you take care of it, I swear to God, you take care of that car, it will last you a lifetime.
I
Plus,
mean, I've seen Hondas and Toyotas go for God.
A while, right?
The frame, as long as it's got a motor frame and wheels, that bitch is still going.
There you go. You see, I wish, like Twisted said earlier in the segment, like we've been mentioning, but Twisted brought this up. Slow the fuck down on this shit. You know what I mean? Like, enjoy your life. Fuck this $300,000 car. Use $300,000. Get yourself a camper, a house. Do something with the $300,000. Don't get this piece of shit that you're gonna keep for 7 years and then trade it in for something else.
And you
And it's
ain't
gonna
even gonna
lose
get a
all of its
fraction of
value.
that trade
Yeah,
in.
Yeah, exactly.
But
alrighty,
that wraps it up.
that does quick little tidbit here. For those of you that have been following us with our whole solar panel experience, we will have an update, I think, next episode on that. We do have some developments. We have some things to say. I'm debating on. We'll see if we're gonna make a separate video for that specifically. But we do have some updates probably next podcast. Not to mention,
The expression on the face is not being mad at the company. Let's just say that.
yeah, we'll definitely.
I'm good with the company.
Right. And we're actually gonna have a dedicated schedule for the podcast. We're kind of debating on what day for now. But by next episode, I think we'll have a solid schedule every week on what day and what time, so you guys can tune in and all that.
Can I make a suggestion on that schedule?
Yeah, sure.
That way you guys get a little bit more me and the real me with these guys. We can do it on the weekends. I mean, I'm off weekends so far that I know of with this project. You viewers, I'll be in and out from time to time. I won't be consistent on here. This is my first podcast actually ever with anybody, or especially with a friend. I actually enjoyed this. Appreciate you guys being here and tuning in with us, and you'll see a lot of me here and there, and you'll get a lot of real out of me. I won't. I'm not a filter. I have no filter. So enjoy it. If you don't, suck it. I don't care. You're still gonna watch this shit anyways. But appreciate you guys being here. On this segment, and appreciate you guys allowing me to kind of give my input on some of the stuff for today's topics as well.
Yeah.
Of course, anytime. We'll definitely discuss the whole schedule thing, and we'll agree on something. Hopefully, we'll try to aim for the weekend so you can be there. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you like the new format. I kind of have bigger cameras, see more detail. Chat's been kind of sized up a little bit. Hopefully, that's kind of easier to read. And also the box underneath me for guests, for desktop stuff. I mean, I feel like it's more intuitive. But if you guys have any suggestions or comments on that, please just put them in the comments. Or if you're on Spotify at the end of the episode, there's a poll there. You can always add to that. Nonetheless, thank you all for watching. I'm Wassup. Go ahead.
Twisted. Always remember and never forget. You'll have that.
You will have that. Zazzy, will you have that?
Zazzy will have it.
Zazzy will have it.
But all you guys have a great week. Stay blessed. Don't be a fool. Rap your tool.
Well said. Take care, guys.
Good night.